Commander Vextar stared at the glowing screen in front of him. Six eyes blinked slowly as he tried to understand what he was seeing. The numbers on the display made no sense. Energy readings this high should not be possible from that direction. Run. The scan again, he told his assistant, Officer Krilmus. There must be an error in the system. Krilmus pressed several buttons on his control panel. The same readings appeared on the screen. Sir, I have checked 3 times. The sensors are working correctly. Vextar felt his throat tighten. The energy signatures were coming from the Sol system. That was where the humans lived. According to all their reports, humans were a weak species. They had only just learned to travel between stars. Their weapons were primitive. Their ships were small and slow. Contact Admiral Crete H immediately, Vextar ordered. He needs to see this. Minutes later, Admiral Crete H appeared on the communication screen. His purple skin looked darker than usual, which meant he was annoyed. What is so important that you interrupt my meal, Commander? Sir, we are detecting massive energy readings from the Sol system. The readings suggest a large fleet moving in our direction. Admiral Crete laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Impossible. The humans barely have 10 ships that can travel between stars. Our intelligence reports say they are still using chemical rockets for most of their space travel. But sir, the energy signatures are real. They are moving toward our border at high speed. Your sensors are broken, the Admiral said. Humans are soft creatures. They have no claws, no natural armor, and they live for only a few decades. They are not a threat to the mighty Zarian Empire. Vextar wanted to argue, but he knew better. Admiral Crete had been a war commander for over 200 years. He had conquered 12 star systems for the Empire. If he said humans were not dangerous, then maybe the sensors really were broken. Yes, sir. I will have the technical team check all systems. Good, and Commander. Do not waste my time with false alarms again. The communication screen went dark. Vextar looked back at his display. The energy readings were still there. They were getting stronger, whatever was coming. From the Sol system was big and fast. He decided to keep watching, even if the Admiral did not believe him. Far away. In the Sol system, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship. The UES Wolverine was the largest ship humans had ever built. It was 3 miles long, and packed with the most advanced weapons and shields Earth could produce. Sir, all ships report ready for jump, said Captain Lisa Parker. She was Morrison's second in command, and one of the best tactical officers in the human fleet. Morrison nodded. How many ships do we have? 237, sir. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels. The entire Third Fleet is ready for Operation Homecoming. Operation Homecoming was humanity's response to the Zarian attacks. 6 months ago, Zarian forces had destroyed 3 human colonies. Thousands of men, women, and children had died. The Zarian Empire had sent no warning. It simply attacked and killed everyone they found. The human government had tried to negotiate. They had sent messages asking for peace talks. The Zarians had ignored every attempt at communication. Instead, they had attacked 2 more colonies. Sir, Captain Parker said quietly. Are you sure about this? The Zarian Empire is huge. Have thousands of worlds and millions of ships? Morrison looked out at the stars. Lisa, they think we are weak. They think we are easy prey. They have no idea what humans can do when we are pushed too far. But sir, their ships outnumber us. 1,000 to 1. Morrison smiled. It was not a happy smile. Numbers do not always win battles, Captain. Sometimes technology makes the difference. Sometimes determination makes the difference. And sometimes being underestimated is the best advantage you can have. He turned to face the bridge crew. The Zarians have been the strongest power in this part of the galaxy for over 1,000 years. They are used to weak enemies who surrender quickly. They have never faced anything like us. Captain Parker checked her instruments. All ships are in position and ready to jump, sir. Then let's show them what humans can do, Morrison said. All ships engage jump drives. Destination, Zarian border territory. The space around the human fleet began to glow with blue energy. One by one, the ships disappeared into hyperspace. They were heading toward the Zarian Empire at speeds the aliens could not imagine. Back at the monitoring station, Vexstar watched, his screens with growing worry. The energy readings were now so strong that they were overloading some of his sensors. Whatever was coming was almost at the border. "Sir," Chroma said, "I am detecting hyperspace exits. Multiple contacts emerging from jump." Vexstar's blood ran cold. "How many contacts?" "I count... Over 200 ships, sir. They are enormous. Each one is larger than our biggest battleships." Vexstar stared at the display. The human fleet was spread across space like a wall of metal and energy. Their ships were sleek and deadly looking. They moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single organism. "Get me Admiral Kreth," Vexstar whispered. "Sir," the Admiral said not to bother him unless... "Get him now," Vexstar shouted. "When?" The Admiral appeared on screen. His face was red with anger. "Commander, I warned you about false alarms. Sir, you need to see this. Humans are here. They have over 200 ships, and they are heading straight for our territory." Admiral Kreeth looked at the sensor data. His angry expression slowly changed to one of confusion, then fear. "This cannot be correct. Our intelligence," said humans, "had fewer than 20 ships capable of interstellar travel." "Sir, our intelligence was wrong. Very wrong." The Admiral stared at the screen for a long moment. "Alert all Border Patrol fleets. Activate defense protocols." "And Commander?" "Yes, sir." "Send a message to High Command. Tell them we may have a problem." Captain Zilyanok of the Zarian patrol ship Stormblade felt excited as he received his orders. His ship and 2 others were being sent to intercept a small group of human vessels that had crossed into Zarian space. "Finally, some action," he said to his crew. "We have been patrolling this empty sector for months. Now we get to show these soft mammals what happens when they enter our territory." His weapons officer, Lieutenant Mercax, checked his instruments. "Sir, I am detecting 3 human ships. They are much larger than our intelligence report suggested, but there are only 3 of them against our 3 ships." "We have equal numbers?" "Equal numbers?" Zilyanok laughed. "We are Zarian warriors. We have been fighting wars for 1,000 years. These humans have barely learned to leave their home planet. This will be easy." The 3 Zarian ships moved toward the human vessels. They were sleek and fast, painted in the dark red colors of the Zarian military. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. On the bridge of the UES Ranger, Captain Danny Walsh watched the approaching alien ships. He was a veteran of many battles, but this was his first time facing the Zarians. His ship was one of the newer human destroyers built specifically for deep space combat. "Sir, the alien ships are hailing us," said Communications Officer Beth Carter. "Put them on screen," Walsh ordered. The face of Captain Zilyanok appeared on the main display. Skin was purple and scaled, and his eyes glowed with yellow light. When he spoke, his voice was filled with arrogance. "Human vessels, you have entered Zarian space without permission. This is an act of war. Surrender immediately, and we may allow some of you to live as slaves." Captain Walsh looked at the alien commander for a moment before responding. "Zarian ship, this is Captain Walsh of the United Earthship Ranger. We are conducting lawful military operations in response to your unprovoked attacks on human colonies. We demand that you withdraw immediately." Zilyanok's eyes grew brighter. "You demand? You tiny mammals think you can make demands of the Zarian Empire? We will teach you the price of such arrogance." The communication ended. Zilyanok turned to his weapons officer. "Target all 3 human ships. Prepare to fire our main plasma cannons." "Should we not try to capture at least 1 ship for intelligence purposes?" "No. We will destroy them all. Let this be a message to any other humans who think they can challenge us." The 3 Zarian ships formed an attack formation. Damn! Their plasma cannons began to glow with deadly energy. This was the same formation they had used to destroy countless enemy fleets over the centuries. On the UES Ranger, Walsh watched the alien ships prepare to attack. "All hands, battle stations. Raise shields to full power. Load railgun batteries. Sir, said his tactical officer, Lieutenant Gary Brooks, their weapons are charging. Energy readings are very high. How high? Each ship appears to be carrying plasma cannons that could punch through standard military armor. If we were using old Earth technology, those weapons would destroy us icily. Walsh smiled grimly. Good thing we are not using old Earth technology. All ships, prepare to show these aliens what human engineering can do. The Zarian ships fired. 3 massive beams of plasma energy lanced across space toward the human vessels. The beams were bright enough to be seen from several light years away. Each beam carried enough energy to vaporize a city. On Zillianok's ship, the crew cheered. Direct hits on all targets, sir, reported Mercax. The humans should be completely destroyed. But as the plasma energy faded, the 3 human ships were still there. Their shields glowed softly blue, completely undamaged. The most powerful weapons in the Zarian arsenal had not even scratched them. Impossible, Zillianok whispered. Our plasma cannons can destroy any ship in the galaxy. How are they still intact? On the IU's Ranger, Lieutenant Brooks checked his instruments. Sir, their weapons had no effect on our shields. Shield strength is still at 100%. Captain Walsh nodded. As expected. Their technology is about 50 years behind ours. Turn fire, 1 shot each, target their weapon systems only. Sir, should we not try to capture them for questioning? We will leave 1 ship operational. Destroy the weapons on the other 2. Ships then disable their engines. The human ships turned to face their attackers. Along the sides of each vessel, massive railgun turrets rotated into position. These weapons did not use energy beams like the Zarian plasma cannons. Instead, they fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Lieutenant Amy Johnson, weapons officer on the EU's Thunder, locked onto her target. Target acquired. Firing railgun battery. The railgun fired with a sound like thunder. A projectile, the size of a telephone pole, shot across space at 30% of light speed. It struck the Zarian ship's main weapon array and punched completely through the vessel. The storm. Blade shook violently as the railgun round tore through its hull. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. Half the crew was dead or injured in seconds. Report. Zillianok shouted over the noise. Sir, our main weapons are gone. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. We have lost life support in 3 sections. Zillianok stared at his displays in shock. 1 shot from the human ship had crippled his vessel. His most powerful weapons had not even damaged their shields, but their single shot had nearly destroyed his ship. The other 2 Zarian vessels suffered similar fates. Within minutes, all 3 ships were drifting helplessly in space. Their weapons destroyed and their engines offline. Captain Walsh opened communications with the surviving Zarian crews. Zarian vessels, this is Captain Walsh. Your ships are disabled. But your crews are alive. We're transmitting medical aid frequencies and repair instructions. Consider this a demonstration of human military capability. On the Stormblade, Zillianok could barely speak. How did you destroy our ship so easily? Captain Zillianok, your intelligence about human capabilities was severely outdated. We suggest you inform your superiors that humanity is not the weak species you believed us to be. As the human ships prepared to leave, Zillianok managed to send one last transmission to Zarian High Command. His voice was shaking with fear and disbelief. Command, this is Stormblade. We have engaged the humans. Repeat, we have engaged the humans. They are not primitive. They are not weak. Their shields absorbed our most powerful weapons without damage. Their weapons destroyed our ships with single shots. Command, the humans are not what we thought they were. They are not what we thought at all. The human ships disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the crippled Zarian vessels behind. The first battle between humans and Zarians was over. It had lasted less than 10 minutes, and it had changed everything. Emperor Thaxmer sat on his crystal throne in the great palace on Zarian Prime. His scaled hands gripped the armrests so tightly that his claws left deep scratches in the ancient stone. Around him, the War Council stood in frightened silence. Read. The report again, the Emperor commanded. General Caxvan cleared his throat nervously. Your Majesty, Captain Zillianok reports that 3 human ships defeated 3 of our patrol vessels in less than 10 minutes. Our plasma cannons caused no damage to their shields. Their weapons destroyed our ships with single shots. The Emperor's eyes blazed with yellow fire. This is impossible. Our intelligence reports said humans were primitive. Their ships were supposed to be weak and slow. Your Majesty, said Intelligence Director Veltar, I have reviewed all our data on humans. We obtained most of our information by observing their outer colonies. We believed these colonies represented their main civilization. And now we realize we may have made a terrible mistake. The colonies we observed were very small. If these were just outposts, then the human home system might be far more developed than we thought. The Emperor stood up from his throne. He was 12 feet tall and covered in natural armor plating. When he was angry, the entire palace could feel his rage. How many ships do the humans have? We do not know, Your Majesty. Our estimates were based on observing their colonies. We counted perhaps 20 ships total. But if we were wrong about their colonies, we were probably wrong about their fleet size too. General Caxvan stepped forward. Your Majesty, I recommend we mobilize the entire Imperial fleet. We cannot allow this human threat to grow. How large is our fleet, General? It's over 50,000 warships, Your Majesty, plus hundreds of thousands of support vessels. Even if the humans have more ships than we thought, they cannot match the might of the Zarian Empire. The Emperor nodded slowly. Very well. Begin mobilization immediately. I want every ship we have ready for battle within 1 month. Far from Zarian Prime, Colonel Pete Davis led his special operations team through the ventilation system of a Zarian military base. His team was aboard the UES Phantom, stealth ship designed to gather intelligence deep behind enemy lines. The Phantom was invisible to Zarian sensors. Human stealth technology used quantum field manipulation to bend light and energy around the ship. To Zarian detection systems, the ship simply did not exist. Colonel whispered Sergeant Kate Miller through the communication system. I am in their computer center. Downloading their military database now. Good work, Miller. What are you finding, sir? This empire is huge. They control over 800 star systems. Their population is in the trillions. They have military bases on thousands of worlds. Colonel, Davis felt a chill. Even with superior technology, humans would be badly outnumbered in any major war. What about their military strength? Their total fleet size is massive, sir. But their technology is very old. Most of their ships are over 100 years old. Their newest vessels are still using technology that we had 50 years ago. Keep downloading everything you can find. We need to know exactly what we are facing. Meanwhile, Captain Kelly Brooks sat on the bridge of the UES Thunder, monitoring Zarian communications. Her ship was positioned near a major Zarian trade route, using advanced sensors to intercept enemy messages. Captain, said Communications Officer Ron Hayes, I am picking up a lot of chatter on Zarian military frequencies. They sound panicked. What are they saying? They're calling for reinforcements from all over the Empire? Multiple fleet commanders are reporting that they are moving their ships toward the human border. They seem to think we are about to invade their entire empire. Captain Brooks frowned. We only have 200 ships in this region. What could make them think we are planning a major invasion? Ma'am, I think they are scared, really scared. Some of these messages are talking about the human threat and unknown human capabilities. It sounds like they think we are much more dangerous than we actually are. On Zarian Prime, General Caxvan was learning just how scared his people had become. Reports were flooding in from across the Empire. Civilian populations were panicking. Some colonies were requesting evacuation. Stock markets were crashing as people feared economic collapse. General, said his aide, we have another problem. Some of our border colonies are surrendering to human forces without even being attacked. What do you mean? 3 colonies near? Human space have contacted human ships and offered to surrender. They are so afraid of human weapons that they would rather give up than fight. General Caxvan rubbed his temples. This was getting worse by the hour. What about our military commanders? Surely they are not as frightened as the civilians. Sir Admiral Crete H has requested permission to withdraw his fleet to defensive positions. He says attacking human forces would be suicide with current technology. Back on the EU's Phantom, Colonel Davis had finished reviewing the intelligence his team had gathered. What he found was both encouraging and terrifying. "This data," he said to his sergeant. "The Zarian Empire has thousands of ships, but most of them are ancient. Our newest battleships use technology that is decades behind ours." "That's good news, sir, yes, but look at this. They have over 3 trillion citizens spread across hundreds of worlds. Even if we could defeat their military, occupying their territory would be impossible." Sergeant Miller studied the data. "Sir, what if we don't need to occupy their territory? What if we just need to convince them to leave us alone?" Colonel Davis nodded slowly. "You might be right. If they are already this scared after one small battle, maybe we can end this war without having to fight the entire empire." On Zarian Prime, Emperor Thaxmer was coming to a similar conclusion, but from the opposite direction. His advisors had been bringing him reports all day, and each one was worse than the last. "Your Majesty," said General Caxvan, "our fleet mobilization is proceeding, but we have problems. Many of our ships are in poor condition, our crews are poorly trained, and morale is very low." "How low?" "Some of our ship captains are requesting transfers to rearguard positions. They do not want to face human ships in battle." The Emperor slammed his fist on the armrest of his throne. "We are the Zarian Empire. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. How can we be afraid of one small human fleet?" Intelligence Director Veltar stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I have been analyzing the human attack. Their ships use weapons we have never seen before. Solid projectiles fired at incredible speed. Their shields absorbed our most powerful attacks without any effect." "What does this mean?" "It means, Your Majesty, that we may not be facing a small human fleet. We may be facing the advance guard of a much larger and more advanced civilization. If their scouting ships are this powerful, what must their main battle fleet be like?" The Emperor sat back in his throne. For the first time in his long reign, he felt genuine fear. The Zarian Empire had always been the strongest power in this part of the galaxy. Now they had awakened something that might be even stronger. "General Caxvan, how long until our fleet is ready?" 2 weeks, Your Majesty. Make it 1 week. And send a message to all our border commanders. Tell them to avoid engaging human ships unless absolutely necessary. We need time to understand what we are really facing." As the orders went out across the Zarian Empire, millions of soldiers and civilians prepared for what might be the greatest challenge their civilization had ever faced. They did not know that the humans were equally concerned about the size and scope of the Zarian Empire. Both sides were preparing for a war that neither side really wanted, but both sides feared they might have no choice but to fight. The Nexus sector had never seen so many ships in one place. Admiral Kreeth stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked out at the greatest fleet in Zarian history. Over 10,000 warships floated in perfect formation, stretching across space like a metal ocean. Ships had come from every corner of the Zarian Empire. Massive dreadnoughts from the core worlds, fast cruisers from the Outer Rim, and countless smaller vessels. The combined firepower was enough to destroy entire star systems. "Admiral," said his communications officer, "we are receiving reports from all fleet commanders. Every ship is ready for battle." Kreeth nodded with satisfaction. "Open a channel." To the entire fleet, thousands of screens across the armada lit up with the Admiral's image. His voice carried to every ship in the massive formation. "Warriors of the Zarian Empire, today we face a new enemy. The humans have shown us weapons we have never seen before. They have shields that can stop our most powerful attacks. But we are not afraid." They knew the humans had destroyed 3 Zarian ships with ease. "We have the largest fleet ever assembled by our empire. 10,000 ships and 5 million brave warriors. No enemy has ever faced such power. Today we will show these humans that the Zarian Empire cannot be challenged." Across the fleet, crews cheered. The sound of their voices echoed through the communication systems. For a moment, the fear that had gripped the Empire seemed to fade, but deep in space, human sensors were already watching the Zarian fleet. Commander Jenny Martinez piloted the UES Reaper through the enemy formation. Her ship was completely invisible to Zarian scanners, thanks to advanced stealth technology. "This is incredible," she whispered to her crew. There must be thousands of ships here. I've never seen so many vessels in one place. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Mike Adams, was recording everything they saw. Ma'am, their ships are old, but there are so many of them. They all attack at once, even our shields. Might not hold. Keep scanning. The UES Reaper moved silently between the Zarian ships. The alien crews had no idea that a human vessel was moving among them, gathering detailed information about their weapons and defenses. Meanwhile, on the EU's Wolverine, Admiral Morrison was studying the reports from his scout ships. Major Sam Roberts, his tactical officer, had been analyzing the Zarian fleet formation. Sir, they are using battle tactics that are over a century old. They plan to attack in waves, with their biggest ships in the front and smaller vessels providing support. Morrison nodded. It is the same formation they have used for hundreds of years. They never changed their methods because they never had. 2, sir? Should we call for reinforcements? 10,000 ships is a lot, even for us.
No, Major.
We knew this day would come when we started this operation. Our ships are ready for this. Captain Lisa Parker looked at the tactical display. Sir, our fleet has 230 ships. They have 10,000. Are you sure we can handle those odds? Admiral Morrison walked to the main viewing screen. In the distance, he could see the glow of the Zarian fleet's engines. Captain, what is the most important lesson in space combat? Superior? Firepower wins battles, sir.
Ow.
Superior technology wins battles. And we have technology they cannot even understand. On the Zarian flagship, sensors began detecting the approaching human fleet. The operator stared at his screen in confusion. Admiral, I am detecting ships approaching our position. But the readings are strange. How many ships? Crete H asked. Sir, I count only 200 vessels, but each one is enormous. They are larger than our biggest dreadnoughts. Crete laughed. 200 ships against 10,000? The humans must be insane, or perhaps they are surrendering. Sir, they are not transmitting any surrender signals. They appear to be taking attack positions. The Admiral's laughter stopped. Attack positions? With only 200 ships? Yes, sir. And Admiral, their energy signatures are unlike anything I have ever seen. Each ship is generating power levels that match our entire battle groups. Across the Zarian fleet, similar reports were coming in. Ship captains who had been confident minutes before were now staring at sensor readings that made no sense. How can so few ships generate so much power? One captain asked his crew. Perhaps their ships are much more advanced than we thought. His science officer replied, the human fleet moved into battle formation with perfect precision. Each ship knew exactly where to go and what to do. There was no confusion, no hesitation. On the U.S. Wolverine, Major Roberts watched the Zarian fleets. Movements, sir. They are preparing to attack. Expected, Morrison said calmly. They will try to overwhelm us with numbers. It is their only strategy. Sir, they are opening fire. The Zarian fleet unleashed everything they had. 10,000 ships fired their weapons at the same time. Plasma beams, energy torpedoes, and particle cannons all streaked across space toward the human vessels. The combined attack was brighter than a star. The energy output was enough to destroy a small planet. The blue glow of their defensive systems grew brighter for a moment, then returned. Too normal. Not a single human vessel was damaged. On the Zarian flagship, the weapons officer stared at his instruments in disbelief. Sir, all shots hit their targets, but there is no damage, none at all. Admiral Crete felt his heart stop. Beating for a moment, that is impossible. We just hit them with enough firepower to crack a moon. Sir, their shields appeared to be completely intact. Our weapons had no effect. Across the Zarian fleet, similar reports were flooding in. It's the most powerful attack in their empire's history had done nothing to the human ships. Admiral, the communications, officer said with a shaking voice. The human fleet is responding. On every human ship, weapon systems that had never been seen before began to power up. Railgun batteries, plasma lance arrays, quantum torpedo launchers all came online at once. Admiral Morrison opened a communication channel to the Zarian fleet. His calm voice carried across space to every enemy ship. Zarian fleet, this is Admiral Morrison of the United Earth Navy. You have attacked human colonies and killed innocent civilians. You have refused all attempts at peaceful negotiation. We are here to end this conflict. Admiral Kreith responded immediately. Human, you are outnumbered 50-1. Surrender now, and we may allow your crews to live as prisoners. Voice remained perfectly calm. Admiral, your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses. Your ships use technology that is decades behind ours. You have one chance to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Order your fleet to stand down, never. We're the Zarian Empire. We do not surrender to inferior species. Then you have chosen poorly, Morrison said quietly. He turned to his weapons officer. All ships, prepare to demonstrate human military capability. Target their weapon systems only. But we are not here to commit genocide. Captain Parker looked at the tactical display. Sir, are you sure we should hold back? They outnumber us dramatically. Captain, the goal is to end this war, not to slaughter millions of beings. We will show them our power, but we will show them our restraint as well. The human fleet began its counterattack, but instead of firing all weapons at once, they fired in sequence. Each ship took its turn, demonstrating the precision and power of human weapons. The first human ship fired a single railgun round. The projectile moved so fast it was invisible to Zarian sensors. It struck a Zarian battleship and punched completely through the vessel, destroying its main weapons, but leaving the crew compartments intact. The second human ship fired a plasma lance that cut through 3 enemy ships like a sword through paper. Again, the shots were precisely aimed to disable rather than destroy. One by one, human ships demonstrated their overwhelming technological superiority. Each shot was perfectly calculated to cause maximum psychological impact while minimizing casualties. Within minutes, hundreds of Zarian ships were drifting helplessly in space, their weapons destroyed but their crews alive. Admiral Kreith watched his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by a force less than 1/50th its size. For the first time in his military career, he understood what true fear felt like. They're not even using their full power, he whispered to his crew. They could destroy us all, but they are choosing not to. What kind of beings are we fighting? Captain Rick Thompson watched his targeting computer lock onto the next group of Zarian ships. His vessel, the EU's Hammer, led a formation of 12 human heavy cruisers. Their mission was simple: demonstrate the full power of human weapons. Ships, synchronized fire on my mark, Thompson commanded. Target the enemy battleship formation. Destroy exactly 500 ships in this volley. The human captains acknowledged the order. Each ship selected its targets with mathematical precision. The weapons computers calculated the exact angle and power needed for maximum effect. Fire. 12 human ships fired at once. Railgun rounds and plasma beams crossed space at incredible speeds. The Zarian battleships had no time to react. In 3 seconds, exactly 500 enemy vessels exploded into brilliant balls of fire. The remaining Zarian crews watched in horror as their strongest ships were destroyed so icily. Many had served in those battleships for decades. While they were gone, vaporized by weapons they could not understand. Admiral Kreith stared at the tactical display on his flagship. Half his fleet was already disabled or destroyed. The humans had barely used a fraction of their firepower, yet his mighty armada was being torn apart. Sir, his communications officer said with a trembling voice, we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet commander. Put it on screen. Admiral Morrison appeared on the display. His expression was calm and professional. Behind him, the bridge of his ship showed no signs of damage or stress. The battle was not even challenging for the humans. Admiral Kreith, I am offering you terms for the immediate cessation of hostilities. Your fleet will stand down and withdraw from this sector. The Zarian Empire will pay reparations for the human colonies you destroyed. In return, we will stop this attack and open diplomatic channels. Kreith felt rage building inside him. Day-Day. Empire had never surrendered to anyone. Human, we will never surrender to inferior mammals. Fight us with honor or be destroyed. Morrison nodded sadly. Very well. We gave you the opportunity for peace. The human fleet began its next attack. Wave. This time they targeted the Zarian command ships. Admiral Morrison wanted to end the battle quickly and save as many lives as possible. Captain Nancy Foster, commanding the EU's Guardian, led the assault on the enemy flagship. Her ship moved through the Zarian formation like a predator hunting prey. Enemy weapons fired at her constantly, but the shots bounced harmlessly off her shields. Target their bridge section, Foster ordered. Precision shot. Disable their command center, but leave life support intact. The Guardian fired a single plasma bolt. The beam struck the Zarian flagship with surgical accuracy, destroying the bridge, but leaving the rest of the ship functional. Admiral Creeth and his crew survived, but their ship was now powerless. All across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human ships moved with perfect coordination, destroying or disabling enemy vessels with single shots. The technological gap was so wide that the battle felt more like a training exercise than a real fight. On Zarian Prime, Emperor Thaxmer watched the battle through long-range sensors. His greatest fleet was being destroyed by a tiny human force. Millions of his best warriors were dead or captured. Your Majesty, General, Caxvan said quietly, we must consider surrender. Our fleet cannot win this battle. The Emperor's claws dug deep scratches in his throne. The Zarian Empire has never surrendered. We have ruled this part of the galaxy for 1,000 years. Your Majesty, if we do not surrender, the humans may decide to attack our home worlds. Their ships could reach Zarian Prime in days. Intelligence Director Veltar stepped forward. Your Majesty, I have been analyzing the human attack patterns. They're deliberately avoiding unnecessary casualties. They could have destroyed our entire fleet in minutes, but they are choosing to disable ships instead of destroying them. What does this mean? It means they do not want genocide, Your Majesty. They want to end the war. Perhaps we can negotiate terms that allow our empire to survive? Back in the Nexus sector, the battle was nearly over. Less than 1,000 Zarian ships remained operational, and most of those were trying to escape. The human fleet had not lost a single vessel. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Hayes led a boarding party from the USS Stryker onto the disabled Zarian flagship. His team wore full combat armor and carried weapons that could cut through any known material. They found Admiral Creeth on the emergency bridge, surrounded by his surviving crew. The alien admiral expected to be executed immediately. Instead, Colonel Hayes removed his helmet and spoke in a calm voice. Admiral Creeth, I am Colonel Hayes of the United Earth Marine Corps. I am here to discuss terms for your surrender. Creeth stared at the human officer. You are not going to kill us? No, sir. We are here to end this war, not to commit murder. Are there wounded crew members who need medical attention? The Admiral pointed to several injured Zarian soldiers. They need help, but our medical supplies are destroyed. We will provide medical aid immediately. Hayes spoke into his communicator. Guardia, we need medical teams on the Zarian flagship. Multiple casualties requiring immediate treatment. Within minutes, human medics were working alongside Zarian doctors to save the wounded. The aliens watched in amazement as their enemies provided medical supplies and treatment to injured Zarian soldiers. Admiral Morrison opened communications with the surviving Zarian fleet. All Zarian vessels. This is Admiral Morrison. This battle is over. We are offering medical assistance to your wounded and technical help to repair your disabled ships. We do not seek your destruction. Across the battlefield, human ships began rescue operations. They pulled Zarian survivors from damaged vessels and provided emergency supplies to ships with failing life support systems. On Zarian Prime, Emperor Thaxmer watched these unprecedented scenes. His enemies were saving the lives of his soldiers. No conqueror in galactic history had ever shown such mercy to a defeated enemy. General Caxvan, the Emperor said slowly, contact the human fleet. Tell them we wish to discuss surrender terms. Message reached Admiral Morrison within hours. He responded immediately. speaking directly to the Zarian Emperor. Your Majesty, we accept your offer to negotiate. But understand that we do not seek to destroy your empire. We want peace between our peoples. What are your terms? The Emperor asked. Complete withdrawal from human space. Reparations for the colonies you destroyed. Establishment of formal diplomatic relations. And most importantly, a guarantee that attacks on human civilians will never happen again. The Emperor considered these terms. They were far more generous than he had expected. And what happens to our empire? Your empire remains independent and self-governing. We have no desire to rule over alien populations. We only want to protect our own people and maintain peace. 3 days later, the formal surrender ceremony took place aboard the UES Wolverine. Emperor Thaxmer came personally to sign the peace treaty. He brought a small escort of ceremonial guards, but no weapons. Admiral Morrison met the Emperor in the main conference room. The alien ruler was enormous, towering over the human officers, but his manner was respectful and subdued. Admiral Morrison, the Emperor said, I must ask you something. Why did you show mercy to our defeated forces? In our history, conquerors always slaughter the conquered. Morrison looked at the alien leader thoughtfully. Your Majesty, we are not conquerors. We are defenders. Our goal was never to destroy your empire. We only wanted to stop the attacks on our people. But you had the power to destroy us completely. Why did you not use it? Because true strength is knowing when not to use your full power. Any species can destroy. It takes wisdom to know when to show restraint. The peace treaty was signed that day. The Zarian Empire agreed to all human demands and established formal diplomatic relations with Earth. But more importantly, they became humanity's first alien allies. Ambassador Chris Miller is appointed as the first human representative to Zarian Prime. His job was to help both species learn to work together and prevent future conflicts. The galaxy would never be the same. Word of the human victory spread to every star system. Alien civilizations that had never heard of Earth suddenly wanted to establish trade and diplomatic relations with humanity. But the humans had proven something even more important than their technological superiority. They had shown that the most advanced species in the galaxy could also be the most merciful. In a universe full of conquerors and destroyers, humanity had chosen to be protectors and peacemakers. Admiral Morrison's fleet took up positions throughout the former war zone, not as occupiers, but as peacekeepers. Their mission was to ensure that the fragile peace between humans and Zarians would grow into a lasting friendship. The war was over. The galaxy had a new guardian, and surprisingly, that guardian was also its most unexpected source of hope.